Teteroa. Give me an A through F. What the criteria is based on what you believe they'll be, their floor, their ceiling, combined with the value at which we got them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's all inclusive. Let's include everything, A through F. Teteroa, for me, I'm going to go with A+. And we can go through it quickly, just popcorn.
Yeah, I will go A+ as well.
A+.
Nick Scorton. I'm gonna go a B on Nick Scorton. Even though they did get phenomenal value for him, a first-round projected guy, you get him in the second round. I'm going to go a B right here just because there was a lack of production at A&M, but I understand the reason why that lack of production was there, but it was still there nevertheless. So I'm going to go B there.
I'm going to go B+, and I'm going to go that based off potential, what I think he could be, and then him coming in and being like, he could be a day one starter, and just looking at the tape, has phenomenal tape, so.
Yeah, I'm going to go B as well. I'm going to go B because I think I would want to grade the edges together personally.
Okay, but we'll grade them together.
Together, I would give them an A because you grabbed two, and two with really high ceilings, but production was still a little bit questionable for both of them.
Yeah,
but together I would give it an A. But.
And I would lean on that side as well if we were grading them together. So we can grade them together.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go A-.
Together, I would go A.
Okay, I'm gonna go A- just because there is lack of production. There is a lot left to be desired on the stat sheet.
Mm-hmm.
But with the value again, projected first rounder you get in the second, projected second rounder you get in the third, and you double dip on the same day. I'm gonna go A-, and the only reason why it's a minus is because there is room for development and proof that you actually have what it takes to play on this level. Who was after that? Trevor. Oh, again, no slight to him by any stretch of the imagination. But for team needs at that particular time, what was still available on the board, the running back that you selected, his value being extremely misconstrued in y'all's head compared to JJ's, I'm going to say a D+ on the Trevor ETN selection.
That's crazy.
Gosh, Jesus Christ. I'm gonna go C-.
Okay.
I'm gonna go C-. Just because I don't think they necessarily drafted him just to be like a prominent figure in that running back room. I think that he will add a lot of special teams value. That's what I kept seeing about him. And you need that. So I'm gonna go C-, even though I didn't really like the pick there, but I'll give C-.
And I'm gonna go D+ as well. Actually, I think we're kind of in line with our thinking about how they drafted. I'm gonna go D+ for that one as well. I didn't like the value, and I also just thought that there was better players on the board, or there was better players that you could have even gotten in the 6th, 7th round. So for those reasons, I do have to give it a D+. Nothing against Trevor, and I really do hope he proves to be one of those dudes. But I just I wasn't a fan of that pick. That was a head scratcher.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even have to spend much more time on it. Lathan Ransom. This is where I'm going to start going slow and just being very mindful and thoughtful on my grades.
Well, I'll go ahead and give you mine then, since you're thinking.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a C.
Okay.
I almost want to go lower just because I keep saying, like, you need a ball hawk to pair with Trayvon Marriott. Like, you just do, especially seeing what the shit happened with Xavier Woods. I just don't know how comfortable I feel rolling Trayvon Marriott out and Lathan Ransom when they both do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go C, and I'm trending towards a D, but I'll keep it cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to actually give that one a C+. I like the value a lot better in that position. I think Ransom does have really good film, and I do think he played at the highest level. And I like hard-hitting safeties. So I think for the value and what he can bring, I'm going to give him a C+ for that pick.
Okay. I'll go C-. You needed a safety. So you had to, you couldn't leave the draft without one. And just kind of, it just fucks me up because you should have went safety at the ETN pick if you were going to go safety. So that's why I'm going to say C-. And I'm just going to leave it there right now because he's going to be one of the guys that I'm going to just give a clean slate and just see what he develops into. Everybody in this class is not that way, unfortunately, just because of the expectations and just the positioning and things like that. But I'm going to give him a clean slate, and I'm just going to see what he turns into, and I'm going to just say C- for the time being. Mitchell Evans was after that? Is that correct?
Correct. No.
Jackson, right?
Cam Jackson.
Yep, Cam Jackson. B-. B-. Just because, you had a problem defensively, specifically D-line, specifically run defense. I don't know what the board looked like, and I'm not familiar enough with a lot of the prospects towards the later rounds to really, really say that Cam Jackson is X, Y, or Z. The only thing that I know is that he's 6'6", 342. His primary job is going to be to clog up the middle, and from some of the workout videos and shit that I've seen, he has extremely fluid hips, and he's extremely quick off of that fucking football. So I'm going to go B- with the Cam Jackson pick.
I'm going to go B, and I think it's because kind of the conversation that y'all have with Mason Graham, like justifying us if we were to take Mason Graham with that 8th pick, and not comparing him to Mason Graham at all, but I think if you want to talk about being able to rotate guys in and out, I think that he's going to fall into that rotation, and it makes me feel better getting him there because you went and got 2 highly rated edge rushers to go alongside of that. And so that's why I didn't like Mason Graham at 8, just because I didn't really know what you would be able to do as far as edge in the back half of that draft. But being that we did take care of the edge needs, then I think that's a guy that'll be a good fit within that D-tackle room and kind of learn from the guys like DB and Ashawn. And I think he'll be a good rotational piece to where DB gets tired, Ashawn gets tired, you're still not running the fucking ball down our throat.
Yeah. And before you even get there, and I'll go right to you, it's a lot more niggas that got to get tired. Because Turk got to get tired too.
And Bobby.
And Bobby got to get tired. Yeah, because that's where I kind of have him. But I do believe he makes the roster. So
I was fighting off a sneeze right there. I'm gonna give that one a C. C+ actually, because I do like just having a space eater. Like I love having just a big fat, nose tackle to just clog up and make shit messy. Like you said earlier, you're not going through A or B, find somewhere else. Like I love having a big bouncer in the middle of the line to just eat up space and fucking make shit dirty in the trenches. So I'm gonna give it a C+.
Got you. Mitchell.
I'm gonna give Mitchell. I'm gonna give the Mitchell pick a B, because I think the tight end room was in need of some help. I know they just signed Tommy Tremble to the contract, to the new contract, and then you still have JT. However, JT is unproven and is still very much a project who got injured, like you mentioned. Tommy, I've never been a big Tommy fan. So for those reasons, I do think it was a position in need. I think at the value that you got him at, I want to give that a B. What did I say? B+? You
said B.
B.
Yeah, I want to give that a B.
I think I'll go B as well for those exact reasons. I mean, you bring competition into that room. You ask someone who's a pure receiving tight end. Now, I'm not sure what he does in the run blocking game. It could be a lot left to be desired there. But that's what you have Tommy Tremble for if you need be. But I think he's a good red zone threat as well. So I'm going to go B.
For me, I'm going to go A flat. I love this pick. Like you said, this room needed something. I don't know if I necessarily believe we were going to go tight end in the draft, but if we were going to do so, I believe that it would be in this area. And I think that you selected right. I think the Carolina Panthers selected right in this moment. Like I said, so I said what I said about Lathan Ransom, about him having a clean slate and everything like that, and just giving him time to develop. I'm going to give Mitchell Evans the time to develop, but I'm not going to give him the same amount of time that I give Ransom to be productive. Like, because that's my expectations already for this kid. I really, 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 really like this pick. I think it was great value. And like I said, we're talking about challenging the roster, and that's been the motto, the MO for this organization and this regime over the past 2 years. You talk about challenging the roster. You bring Tommy Tremble back, which is cool. My feelings on Tommy Tremble, I believe that he got fucked off. I really, really, really believe that he got fucked off his first 2.5, 3 years with Matt Rule and Frank Reich.
Yeah.
Because he even came out and said that, like, bro, there were days at practice that niggas weren't even telling me what the fuck to do. Like, I had no idea what I was supposed to be doing. I wasn't really a part of the game plan. So he got his career up to this point has gotten really, really fucked off. And on top of that, I do know for a fact that Canales and his coaching staff had high expectations for Tommy Tremble because this was a guy that they really, really liked last year, and then he gets stretched. And so now it's just like we're trying to work you back and trying to get you the reps as well as trying to develop this young guy in Sanders. So I think that Tommy Tremble has just had a bad go at it up to this point, for real, for real. Not to give no excuses for the lack of production, right? But I think that Tommy Tremble could be a lot better than he is currently. I do, and to no fault of his own. That being said, I've been extremely vocal about how I feel about Jatavion Sanders. I think he is a really, really good tight end, but he's primarily a pass-catching tight end. So really, to me, he's just another wide receiver. I think Mitchell Evans' game has a little bit more to it, bro. I really, really do. I love this pick. I'm going to give it an A. And like I said a few minutes ago, I believe that we will see him starting week 11, 12, 13, somewhere in that range. And when this contract is up for Tommy, I think it's going to be, okay, Jatavion, well, you're on the hot seat, my nigga. Because if not, and you can't get it done, then you'll just forever be tight end 2 or 3. Because I think that Mitchell Evans, when he gets his opportunity, he's going to immediately become productive. But that's a conversation that we'll have here in a few minutes. And then, was it Jimmy Horn after that?
Yep.
It's hard to grade 6th and 7th round. For the situation, for the value, I'll give the Jimmy Horn pick. I'll say a B minus. I'll say a B minus for the Jimmy Horn pick. I don't have a long, drawn-out dissertation for that one. I don't.
I'm going to go B+, just because I'm a Jimmy Horn guy. I think he is a good receiver, and I think if he's able to make the team, I think he'll play a really good role on this team. And I also think that'll be a guy that challenges other guys in the room as well. So I'm going to give it a B+ because I think he has a lot of value.
Yeah, I'm going to give that a B+ as well. I really like Jimmy Horn like you do. I'm a big Jimmy Horn fan myself. I think he's going to be a really productive slot receiver at some point in his career in the NFL. So for those reasons, I almost want to give it an A, but I'm going to give it a B+.
Same. I was trending towards A, honestly.
Cool. Overall, yes, overall, I think that, and I started the podcast by saying this, and I'll reemphasize it. I think the front office did a phenomenal job. I think they did an outstanding job. Started with day 1, went into day 2, started shaky day 3, closed the day phenomenally. The value that you got in round 2 and 3, outstanding. I think a lot of us believed that the Carolina Panthers were going to hyper-focus defensively. That wasn't their approach. They end up going 4 offense and 4 defense. I think that's great. I think it's tremendous that you get Bryce Young additional help in the room on more levels than just Teterow and McMillan. All of that being said, I'm going to say overall, I'm going to give this draft an A-. I'm going to give this draft an A-, and the only reason why it's not an A or A+ is because we didn't walk away with Donovan and we didn't walk away with Mike in round 2 or 3 after they had dropped. And I know that you weren't picking high enough, but I would have expected you, I guess, to be a little bit more aggressive. That's the only reason why it's not an A or A+ is because those were 2 my guys that dropped. We didn't get our hands on them. So that is the only downside. But I love the strategy, and I love the aggression, and I love the way we played it specifically in day 2 with double dipping. So A-. I mean, I can't really want for much more than what we got this past weekend from the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I think I'll go A- as well. I'm kind of, the more that I think about it, I want to say B+, but I'll give it an A- just because I don't think you address the corner needs, even with the free agents that you picked up. I don't know if those guys are going to be, serviceable corners alongside of JC and Mike Jackson. I think you, not going to say you miss with the Trevor ETN pick, but I think like we've been saying that there was more. You could have done something else with that pick based on the needs that you had there. But I think overall, it was a really solid draft. One of the best ones that I think we've been a part of. And I don't know if people were shitting on Dylan when he said this, but when he was like, this could be the best draft in Carolina Panthers history. And I think that is true if these guys live up to the potential that's set for them.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go a little bit higher than y'all. I'm going to give it an A, and the only reason it's not an A+ is because of the Trevor ETN pick, or Trevor ETN pick. Thank you. Because I actually really, really liked what the Panthers did in the draft. Now, they didn't address corner, which is something that I've been screaming for almost 2 years now that they did need to touch. However, you have JC. You signed him to that massive contract. You brought back Mike Jack. And what we saw last season, if nothing else from that terrible defense, was that the cornerbacks were good and serviceable. So for those reasons, I do want to give the Panthers an A in their draft this year.
Cool.